Hello. So, for the past 3 weeks, I've been working on this huge, fully custom micro-scale Lego mock of the Las Vegas Strip from Fallout New Vegas, which is my favorite video game of all time. I'll be showing you around all the major buildings and all the details and talking about all the specifics of how I designed this. I will say right here, since I know a lot of people will probably want to know, is that I cannot provide instructions and I also don't know a specific part count for this. That is because I don't plan my builds at all. I improvise them. I didn't use a digital design program for this, so I don't have a way for making instructions or knowing the part count. For some basic measures of this, from the floor to the highest point on top of the Lucky 38, it is 68 centimeters. Side to side from the widest point, which is right here, it is 100 centimeters, which is a meter. And in length, it is 135 centimeters approximately. So, starting with the Lucky 38 casino, the rest of this, everything else here I built within the last 3 weeks, but the Lucky 38 I actually built at least 2 years ago, maybe even 3 years ago, which it's been sitting next to my computer there. The only thing I added for this was the sort of base around it, and which has the red and black sort of awnings that surround it. There's the sign. I'm very happy with the signage I did for this. All of the signs for the casinos are double-sided so that they look good from both sides. At the bottom, I mean, you have the gold detailing and the red and black side panels. And there you have the sort of graded staircase up to the doors. On most of these casinos, it was way easier to use black to represent windows rather than transparent pieces. In the game, the light posts on the street are both on the sides and in the middle, but I tried that out, but I thought it looked a lot better to have them going all the way through the middle, just cleanly like that. That blue thing right there is the broken down sort of truck bed or truck trailer, which is in the game. There's the gate and the colorful sort of plating on top. These things on the side are, you might recognize as the red sort of whatever, like magazine boxes. You can get magazines from them. Opposite the Lucky 38, of course, is the Gomorrah. There's the sign for the Gomorrah. That's meant to be flames, as you can see. There's fire on top of that sign in the game. The gray studs there are sort of stones surrounding the palm trees, which the same build for palm trees appears throughout the build. I'm very happy with it. You have the very weird pattern on the ground, on the entrance of the Gomorrah. It's actually kind of hard trying to get my phone in here to film everything. I'm very, very happy with how the silhouettes of the women there turned out. But otherwise, the Gomorrah is it's very basic. It's very just blocky. One thing I did is that in the game, they actually didn't model the roofs of the buildings. So in order to make them just a tiny bit less boring, I added a bit of like air conditioning sort of machinery here. There's the same sign. Then here's a little side road. For all of the side roads, I put in some sort of like rubble there. I'm knocking everything over. I just knocked that over. There's the sign for the tops. Now that we're moving on to the tops. Again, very happy with how that turned out. Again, double-sided. There's the little bit of greenery. Now, before I started working on this, I had actually never noticed that there is this really tiny sort of slivery small side building to the top, sort of whole complex they have, which the side door to it is normally in the game sort of behind here, behind the wall, and you can't access it, but I just like this look of it, so I added it right there. You know, it's not that accurate, but I don't really care. Right there is the sort of side paneling of it with the sort of way. The light strips and the sort of light awning that it has. Now, this circular entrance building to the Topps Casino is probably the most inaccurate thing here, because if you look at it in the game, the roof isn't sort of flat like this, it's kind of at an angle, and the whole thing isn't just a sort of cylinder as this is. It is, it gets wider on the top, meaning that building that would have been possible at the scale, it just would have been so difficult that I really didn't want to bother putting out the effort and time into designing it. So I just made it very simple. There's the doors down there. Then behind the action, like if you play the game, you know that this is where the actual sort of casino floor is, and here, and this is just the like hotel rooms all here. So again, the black is just meant to represent the windows, with these being the balconies of the and kind of the separating lines of the rows of rooms here. Here's the inside courtyard with a pool of the Topps, which I always forget this even exists in the game. I almost never visit. Why would you visit? There's no point in going there in the game. There's a lot of sorry for this lighting. I don't have very good access to lighting here. So there's a lot of vegetation. There's another one of those entrances there. This isn't in the game, but I just thought it was really cute and fitting. I have some food items here to represent like giant sort of pool floaties. Then you have the sunbathing chairs and umbrellas or parasols were there. The hotel buildings themselves are very basic, very sort of cubicle. Then on the other side of the street from the Topps is Las Vegas Boulevard Station, which of course is the place where the monorail, which there's the monorail tracks leaving, leaves for Camp McHerron, which is the NCR big camp. In the game, it actually says LVB Station, but that wouldn't have fit here, and considering that LVB was already, which is Las Vegas Boulevard, so considering that's already shortened, I just thought it might as well shorten the station as well to make it fit. There's again not much to mention about this, considering it's very basic building, aside from the back, which I think I managed quite well. On both sides there is this little sort of inset portion here. That right there is just the wreck of a blue car, which that same basic build for a small wreck appears here. On the other side there is the same sort of inlet there. Again, very, very basic. Sign for the Lucky 38 and this floor pattern here. That grate right there is a sort of big grate that appears just a couple of times if you look at it in the game. Now, anyone who's familiar with the vanilla version of the game will know that in the vanilla game, because of, I think, some technical sort of difficulties they had with it, there's a big dividing wall right here and then right here, which divided into 3 separate loading zones. I took screenshots as a model for this using the mod called Simple OpenStrip, which removes the wall right there and removes the wall right here and gate. The main things that this causes is that this whole place was taken up by a huge chunky wall, and the mod creator of that just turned this place into a little parking spot, which there was hints of that in the game since you could see this part. I think that's fine, I did that. The only problem is that this is the only sort of unfinished part of this build, is that, again, this whole part was taken up by the huge chunk of wall that extended here. So I don't really know what to put here. It looks very empty. There's still a little sort of overpass that goes over the street and then sort of gauge over it. Very hard to get my camera in here, or phone. I think I should probably just put some little sort of debris here from the overpass, but I don't know. So next is the Ultralux. I am not fully happy with this. I knew going into this that because of the weird shape of the Ultralux, it would be the hardest one to build. On the front, you have again just some palm trees and the fountain. The Ultralux sign right there. I'm not happy with how this turned out. It is just trans black plates and blocks to form a skylight dome there. You have the little flower beds on the side and the sort of, I don't know what you call that, a corrugated sort of side thing with the different levels of the windows going up. I'm not fully happy with how the Ultralux turned out. There's the little golden crest with Ultralux on it. There's the back, which again, black representing windows and just the separating lines there. My phone cable is getting stuck on this. So after that is the Vault 21 Hotel, which actually, the sign, this is probably my favorite part of this whole thing. I think this turned out fantastic. Look at this. So that's just pops right there. Of course, the actual Vault 21 itself is underground, so this is just the simple little entrance building for it. Very basic, small little thing. So this last portion is the final sort of loading zone in the vanilla version of the game. Here we have the absolute most boring building here. It's just nothing. If you look at it in the game, it is really just kind of nothing. It's just a box, but I had to add it since it was, part of the whole strip. It's Michelangelo's workshop, which it's just as Michelangelo's. And there's nothing really to say about this. There's nothing to say about it in the game. There's no quest there or anything. It's really boring. So this whole thing is also very boring. However, on the other side of the road there is the NCR embassy. I gotta highlight this, the NCR flag. I'm very happy with this. The red is the red stripe at the bottom. The brown is the bear. The green is the little grass hill it's standing on, and then the dots are the text that says New California Republic. So you have the whatever plants there are on the grounds there. The same floor pattern as right there. If you look at it in the game, the roof has a ton of these air conditioning sort of boxes. I don't know why there's so many. You have the brown sort of whatever you kind of call it, sort of lattice things on the walls there at certain points, and then the doors are covered by these little, again, awnings. The same sort of build for these outer walls, which are go all throughout this thing. It's just alternating between 6 high and 8 high, and then 2 wide and 1 wide. Very simple. Now, I'm not gonna show it, but in order to make this thing actually be able to moved around and stored, it separates into a lot of chunks. So for example, the tops, this whole chunk is a separate part that just comes apart. That's a separate part, separate part, separate part, separate part, separate part. So this whole thing separates into, I think, around 32 different sort of distinct little pieces. So I haven't yet sort of seen how easy it will be for me to store this. I have some boxes. We'll see if I can actually fit all this into places. So yeah, that's the whole thing. Well, now I took that apart. Whatever. Very happy with it. Again, that little bit I need to figure something out. Not 100% happy with the Ultralux. But other than that, I'm extremely proud of this. This is by far the biggest Lego thing I've ever done. Probably will ever do, well, not ever, but will do for a long time. This really was, for the 3 weeks I was working on this. My apartment is very small. I had pretty much this floor, my entire kitchen table, and all of the kitchen floor was taken up by my sort of part sorting boxes there. I didn't actually have to make that many Bricklink orders. It was only around 180 euros worth of Bricklink orders, which for this large of a thing, that isn't that much. Yeah.